So now let's take a look at some of these problems in this set, which are asking you to now not solve it by factoring, but solve it by graphing. I definitely want you to use the technology that you have at your disposal here. And so kind of one of the purposes of me showing this video here is just for those of you that may grab that graphing calculator that's in the corner of the classroom and might not be all that quite comfortable working with it. And so that's one thing that I would like to do with you guys there is get you more comfortable with that graphing calculator. So let's look at number 25. Number 25, x to the third minus 4x squared minus 7x. See one little problem that we have here with this problem, and that is the first thing you need to do before you actually can use the graphing calculators is you have to set the equation equal to 0. So to do that, don't we have to add 10? That'd make that 0, and we have to add 10 to this other side. So we actually would have to graph this. Y would be equal to x to the third minus 4x squared minus 7x, and then when we add 10 we need a positive 10, just like that. Okay? So then our next move is to turn to the graphing calculator. So once you turn that calculator on, the first button that you want to press when you want to type functions into the graphing calculator is press that y equals button. Okay, so the first term would be x to the third, right? Let me just double check. Yep, x to the third and then minus 4x squared. So let's type in x. The x button is right here to the right of the alpha button. Okay, so press that and then we can raise it. There's your exponent button. We'll raise to the third power. Then we have to subtract 4x squared. So hit that x button again, hit the square right there, and then I think we had to subtract 7x, and then we need to add 10. Okay, so that's your first move. Okay, so back over here, first move, type that function into your graphing calculator. Okay, step 2, hit the graph button. Hit the graph button, then you'll see that curve, and notice that curve crosses the x-axis 3 times. This is good news for us. What that tells us, and I'll be hinting at this throughout the entire unit, is something called the fundamental theorem of algebra. And what the fundamental theorem of algebra states is that whatever the degree of the polynomial, in this case the degree, going back to 5-1, the degree is 3 because the highest power is 3. That means there must be 3 answers to the problem. And when you see a graphing calculator cross the its graph cross the x-axis 3 times, that means all the 3 answers that we're looking for are all real. Okay? So that's your next move, is to go ahead and graph it to get an idea of where the solutions actually are. Your next move to find the solutions is you need to go to the table. Now to get to the table of values, that same button that you pressed to hit graph, hit second, you pressed it when you see the arrow, and then press graph, and then there we have a table of values here. Do you notice that at certain points on this table, for our inputs of x, we get an output of 0. We get one right here at -2. We go back to the graph, see here at -2, that second tick mark crosses the x-axis. We have another one right down there at 1. And we have another one, if we scroll down, there's the third one right there at 5. So those are our 3 solutions. So to solve them by graphing, here's pretty much all I want you to do. You can't really provide much here for me here. If you wanted to make a quick sketch of the graph to show your work, that's okay. But at this point, all I really want you to do for me here is to use that graphing calculator and tell me we've got -2, we've got +1, and we've got 5 as our 3 answers. You're going to have to do the exact same thing with question number 28, except for, well, actually, you're going to do the similar first move that we did here with 25. Notice with 25, we had to set it equal to 0 first by adding the 10. So shouldn't our first move here be subtract 48x from both sides? So then I'd be graphing this into my graphing calculator, 6x squared minus 48x. Okay? Now, I could show you the graphing calculator trick again, but I want to show you another move that you can do at home. Okay? When you don't have these graphing calculators available at home, you can still get these answers pretty easily. And that's with that graphing calculator link that I put on my webpage. So once again, go to my webpage, www.protopage.com/MrCookLHS. And then right here in the upper left, you see Graphing Calculator. Click that. It'll take you here. I mean, just put it into a view. It's a little bit easier to read in this video. Okay. And then you've actually got two options here. Here's option number one. You can actually type in y equals, and then we have 6x. And then to do square, you can actually do it right down here if you want to. There's a square button. Is it to the second power? I don't remember. Let me go back. Yeah, it was to the second power. You can do it just like that, and I'll put that square in there for you. Or if you got a keyboard handy, you're doing this on a keyboard, just press Shift and then 6, and that'll be that caret button. It's the same symbol that's on your graphing calculator, and you can press it too. Notice that the graph is actually making it as we type. So then we need also, was it plus 48x or was it minus 48x? Let me just double check. It was minus 48x because we had to subtract. Okay, so let's subtract 48x. Okay, so let me get this little keyboard out of the way. You can do that by clicking that little X to hide the keypad. And then realize I can click the left mouse button. I can scroll around. I can use a roll bar on a mouse and zoom in, zoom out. But do you see how they put two gray dots right there? I'm going to click that one. Hey, there's one answer. And there's the other answer. The answers that we're looking for are the x-intercepts there. So I have two answers there for this problem. One answer is 0. The other answer is 8. So my two answers here, x equals 0, x equals 8. Alright, so I hope that helps with those homework problems.